Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. I asked you on my Instagram if you wanted to see my favorite albums of 2020 here. So with the positive feedback that I got, I'm making this. But I must say this will really be the last video related to 2020, I promise. I will show you the top 10 best albums for me, as well as my favorite songs on each album, and talk a little bit about them. It's a very subjective video, so do have that in mind. Also, other albums could have amazing songs in them, but I'm taking into consideration the whole album. So with that being said, make sure you tell me which were your personal favorites, and let's start from number 10. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but in the 10th place it's Everglow's second mini album for 2020. I also enjoyed the first, but I find the tracks in the second better and more memorable to me. The album had overall 4 songs including their title track. I will play you now some small clips of my favorite B-sides. I also liked Good Boy, and of course La Dida. As some of you know, it was my favorite title track from 2020. This album was good, and even if they are not as memorable as others, they are no skips. This would have been higher on my ranking if it had more songs. Now going to the next on the list. In the 9th place is Delight by Baekhyun. I feel like this is self-explanatory. I don't think this guy can make a bad song. He is very mood-lifting even with his more slow songs. Now for my favorite tracks, excluding the title song. I'm really in love with his voice, even if I think his first mini album was better. This is also very good. He gives his flow and a color in every track, and it just never gets boring. His vocals were crazy, and I'm always looking forward to his music. Also, a side note, every title track in this video is in my favorites. Now in the 8th place is Eyes Wide Open by Twice. This was their second album for 2020. To be honest, this was their first comeback I was that into as a whole. I listened to all of their B-sides, and this album was more of my style, and the concept was also good. Now going to my favorite tracks.
We just go hard. I'll bring it back.
I feel this album was good, but still it had its hits and misses. There were tracks that I really liked and others that I just skip. Their new tone is very appealing to me, and I'm happy with the direction they are going to. Now in the 7th place is TXT with A Dream Chapter Eternity. This literally made me get into their discography. I liked the vibe they had, and it was a very interesting image they portrait both in their tracks and their music videos. Now for my favorite B-sides, they are I mean, who can dislike these songs? I'm very happy. The B-sides they released in 2020 are more of my style, and I even enjoy them more than their title tracks. Now going to the 6th place. BTS with Beat. This was an album I personally waited so much. It was really a pleasant surprise at the sound they choose for this album. My favorite tracks are The songs were so relaxing and just beautiful. It felt peaceful, and we got to see another side of them. The meaning, the concept, and the minimalistic touches they had made it feel complete. I'm obsessed with their vocals, and I'm very thankful for this album. Now going to the next in line. Enhypen with Border Day 1. I actually watched their survival show before they debut, and knew they were gonna be good, but didn't expect this. I was really impressed when I heard their album for the first time. My favorite songs from their album are They really made a solid debut with this album. I didn't know what style I should expect, but this felt like a perfect fit for their image, so I'll be anticipating their future releases. Now in the 4th place is Kai with his first mini album, called alsokai. I mean, I didn't want to expect a certain concept from him, but from his solo stages he had before, I knew his sound would be very different from when he sings with the EXO, but this was a whole another dimension that I didn't know I needed. My favorite tracks from his album are
Hello, stranger. I want nothing on me but you.
These songs are literally on my everyday playlist. I never thought I would love his voice this much. I just think he brought his own identity in the tracks, in the most beautiful way. They were literally art. Now going to the 3rd place.
Show you this is how we do it,
NCT. With NCT Resonance Part 2, I was actually surprised that this is here, because their songs literally didn't felt like B-sides, and I only liked the 2nd version as it added the best songs for me. For this version their title track was 90s Love, so I will not include it in my favorites. So now let me show you some of my personal picks.
I can do this all day. Back it up, back it up.
I feel like from a 21-track album I liked a third of it, but the ones I liked, I loved. Personally, I believe all of the units of NCT had amazing releases this year, and they gave us pops. Let's see what 2021 will be like for them. Now going to my top 2. Map of the Soul 7 by BTS. I mean, we got so many bops from this album, and I feel like these top 2 are in another level from the previous ones. The quality in each track is impressive, and I always enjoy listening to this album. Some of my favorites from this masterpiece are This album was so good, and I liked all the songs, and the creativeness on them. Probably from my top favorite albums from BTS. It's art. If only was promoted better. Anyway, going to the best album of 2020 for me, you already know. The album, by Blackpink. Finally their first full album. Even if it had 8 songs in total, I can't complain. Even Ice Cream slaps, in its own way. Well, kinda, but the quality in every track is insane. Also, the era was just incredible. My favorite songs in the album are
How you like that? You ain't worth my love if you only love to hate me. Love, giant savage, with some yepper giant savage. I went crazy over you.
Every B-side is a title track material. That's so crazy. The work in every piece shows, and I'm very proud of them for making their first full album that iconic. This really is quality music that will always be on my playlist. So with that being said, we got to the end of my top 10 K-pop albums from 2020. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget this is only based on what I personally like. So make sure you comment your own preferences and picks down below. Also, now that every video for 2020 is done, what should I do next? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and until next time, bye.